Damn it, Corky, get back here and take your medicine. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. I, of course, am the one and only the Dungeon Delver, coming at you live on this Wednesday evening. It is good to see you, and it is good to be seen by you. And I hope everybody is having an absolutely fantastic time this here evening. And it's going to be a good evening. It's going to be a fun evening because we're going to be doing a deep dive. We're going to be we haven't done that in a long time. I've gotten some awesome mail call stuff, and I'm trying to get caught up on it to do like deep dive looks at it and everything. So I decided I would start with this absolutely fantastic piece here tonight. This is from Giant Slayer Games. He contacted me. They contacted me. Excuse me. I want to be inclusive. I was contacted by Giant Slayer Games who said, "Hey, you want something? You want something cool?" Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, I have never turned down something cool ever. So I jumped on it and I got that beautiful, just gorgeous handcrafted zine, and we're going to talk all about that tonight. I've got the PDF of it, and so we're gonna dig into that. So yeah, that's coming up here in just a moment or two. But first, of course, I want to remind you folks that this live stream is brought to you by our friends at Hellabard Games. Hellabard makes the kind of adventures that they'd like to play, whether it's for 5th edition, Castles and Crusades, or the OSR. Old School is in play at the table with Hellabard Games, and you can check them out on DriveThruRPG or on their website, hellabardgames.com. And another cool thing that I am more than happy to tell you guys about is this channel, this effort that I put forward 5 nights a week, focusing on the best in old school and old school revival products is now we are at 4871 on the YouTube subs. Thank you guys. You keep bringing it. You keep getting the good word out there, spreading the good news. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And let me tell you, if you've just come this way, you just looked for live streams on YouTube, maybe this just got kind of promoted up a little bit and you haven't already, please do consider clicking the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below and tell me what you liked about it. And you know what? If you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs down and leave a comment below and tell me what you didn't like about it. Either way, I can adjust to do more or less. I'm very flexible that way, or at least I try to be, because I do this for you guys, because I care about you guys. I mean, I wouldn't live stream classic D&D stuff 5 nights a week if I didn't care, right? So thank you all for doing that. And if you're looking for other ways to support the show, of course, you can support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or on YouTube subscriptions for YouTube memberships. I'm going to get that right someday. YouTube memberships for as little as $1.99. And I apologize for the price disparity, but that's a YouTube thing, not a Bill Sylvie thing. However, regardless of whether you support us at Patreon or via a YouTube membership. At the $10 level on Patreon or $10 level on YouTube, every month you will receive a free first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons mini adventure. That's right, a short form, old school formatted Dungeons and Dragons module that you can insert into a game just where you need. Just a little, 10, 12 encounters with some bad guys, something like that. We dropped our first one just a couple of weeks ago, and next week I'm going to release the one that Kyle wrote. So that's just my gift back to you guys. I struggled with a long time over what to do for our most excellent patrons, and well, I think bringing the best thing that I can bring to you guys is my writing, really. I mean, y'all don't want to wait for months for me to 3D print up a bunch of stuff, right? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Every month, a new mini AD&D. At the end of a year, you have a collection of 12 modules to play. That's an entire campaign. I challenge you to go out and find such value anywhere else. But thank you all very much, regardless of how you support the show. And so we're going to be getting into this deep dive in a few minutes. And when they reached out to me and said, hey, we'll send you something cool. It was up to me, and I looked, and I got to say, these modules, these flipping and turning modules, are they're a sumptuous feast for the eye. Now, look, last night, my buddy, good personal friend of mine, was saying that art doesn't matter in D&D. No. I vehemently disagree with that. So when I was perusing, when I was asked so politely, so generously, what would you like? And I saw the cover for the module we're deep diving. I've held it up. You guys know what I'm talking about. I gasped. I audibly gasped. I was like, I can have that? Because it's sumptuous, gorgeous module artwork that I'm going to share with you guys. Magazine artwork. Although there's adventures in here. One might say that my module gaff was not entirely off the mark, but I'll leave you guys to judge that. So we're gonna dive into this, and we're gonna take a look at it. So let's see. Let's do this and share, and I'll bring that up on the screen because, guys, let me tell you something. I sat on the precipice a few years ago about what to do to continue to promulgate classic Dungeons and Dragons. This was pre-decent amount of broadband for me, okay? I mean, these were getting 5 megabits. This stream would hardly be possible under the auspice of what I had for internet back then. So I thought, well, maybe I could do a print zine. Maybe I could, because having a print zine in your hands, everybody to a greater or lesser extent can get their stuff out there with PDF. Indeed, that was how I went out there and got stuff out originally. And I kicked around a few ideas, but it never came to fruition. So what I have tonight is what I would like to envision in my mind, that if I had not perhaps been so lazy, I would hope that I could produce something of this quality. Now, again, I jumped onto the issue that I chose based not on chronology, but strictly on artwork. So we're kind of jumping in media res here with this issue of flipping and turning. So I'm going to stop I'm going to stop blathering about this. Robert Ritchie, Robert, I can only guess that you're in kind of into this, in part of this. Robert Ritchie says the cover artist Aggie Pryor is super talented. Oh yes. So let's get into this. You know, you guys have heard me blather. I've been going nonstop for 10 minutes now, and I've lost like 10 of you. And that's a shame. That's one person a minute. So I'll try and bring it back around, and let's get into this dive. Let's jump into this. You're the publisher, and oh my good. Well, what an honor. Thank you for coming, for being in the audience. How wonderful. Thank you so much, Robert. I guess you do have a little bit of skin in this game. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at this glorious cover and bask in its awesomeness by Aggie Pryor. And let's pop this up on the screen. So this is number 5. This is from autumn 2021. And if you're curious, if you're thinking, Bill's showing us something awesome that is made of unobtainium. No, you can actually get these. These are available in PDF. And Robert, I believe you can get print-on-demand copies. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. You'd think that would be something that I would, prepare for. But anyway, so let's get into this. And again, we have some absolutely gorgeous art, a new and delightful take on the mermaid. Of course, you know, she has quite a set of lungs. Jorge, I'm doing fine. So we have a mermaid here, and then we have a couple of fine-looking gentlemen lurking back in the clouds. You have them on hand and fulfill orders yourself. Wow. That is great. And some lovely calligraphy across the top. Of course, we have the polyhedrons. You get an 8, a 10, a 4, a 20, a 6, another 10, and a 12. Just beautiful artwork here. I mean, I could literally just the whole show could just be me gushing about this. This is simply delightful. Right. This is the kind of artwork I wish that graced a lot of RPG stuff today. Greetings, Giant Slayer Games. So let's take a look at that. We're kind of into this, but I am going to say perhaps if the audience would like, perhaps I could persuade Mr. Christopher, Giant Slayer Games. Perhaps I could persuade them to participate in a live stream at some point in the not too distant future. What do you folks out in the audience think? Is that something you guys would like? So anyway, we have our wonderful mermaid officially approved by Delph. So let's continue on. Now, I'm going to warn our guests. That I will hop around a magazine, right? We've done deep dives on the Dragon and the Strategic Review. I haven't done Dungeon. Perhaps I should do Dungeon one day, but I will zip around as I see interesting stuff. But here we go. Table of contents, flipping and turning inside this issue. Wizard in the Marketplace. Rules AF. Tournament Edition. Warning, this potion may have side effects. I'm liking that already. I'm a sucker for the potion missability table. Yes, Vaughn, I would say it's something like that. Let's see. Terrible monsters. Ask the Gibbering Melther. Gnome Realms, trademark. Obsession. Sea Druids. Pirates. Making lemonade out of lemons. The Devious DM's Tome of Traps and Tricks. Point Crawls. Underwater Adventures. Very cool. The Waterfall Hex. Smuggler's Blues, a Windjammer scenario. Long Hairs and Labyrinths, a single conversion, the Sage NPC, a touch of class, Druids, Ye Old Gruel Hut, Lady Greyfist of Wolftree Island, Kobolds of the Shattered Norns, the Leomund Files, the Lighthouse, Annals of the Lower Reaches, and from the Dictionary of EGG, which one can only presume that's from E. Gary Gygax. And of course, over here we've got so many contributors there. Of course, cover as mentioned by Augusta Aggie Pryor. Not that it greatly matters to me, but if I do reference it, would that be a Ms. or a Mr.? And you can let me know. And we have a lot of other contributing artists. We'll see their stuff as we go on. I don't want to deny anybody their say, but you know. Editor in chief, Rob Ritchie. Staff artist Chris Moynihan, and there's lots of email. And guys, this is an active, ongoing thing. So you know, if you wanna make contact with these folks, there's the email address. I'm pointing at my screen like you guys can see that, and that post is a miss. Okay, thank you, Robert. And printed right here in the USA. All right, so Wizard in the Marketplace, welcome to this very special issue of Flipping and Turning, coinciding with GrogCon 2021 in Kissimmee, Florida. This issue is stuffed full of salty treats and aqueous goodies, perfect for convention snacking. Now, a lot of you folks, of course, know that I live in the Central Florida area. I have been remiss. I have not been to GrogCon. My sincere apologies for that. I will have to check it out. So let's see. Perhaps a few words are in order to explain how this magazine came to be for those who have not been playing from the beginning of the campaign. What a perfect place to start. How serendipitous, you know? I seem to have that talent for drawing out Dungeons and Dragons books that are just perfect for the occasion. It all started in May 2017 with the Central Florida AD&D First Ed Grognard's Guild, and I've met some of them, actually. I've gamed with a few of those August folks, a cadre of like-minded gamers who longed for the days when they slung dice and slew dragons instead of typing spreadsheets and completing depositions, whose fun was fueled by Mountain Dew and bugles instead of baby aspirin and beta blockers, when games in a friend's basement lasted all weekend instead of in 3-hour online Zoom calls. I feel that. Feel it right here. What they desired most, though, was to host an old-school AD&D game convention called GrogCon. To make that a reality, our Grog Emperors Dan and James worked their weekly sorceries and brought something new and terrible into existence, the Grog Talk podcast, available wherever fine podcasts are served. If by now you started to lose the thread of the story, that's okay. Most of us have too. Hey, I can sympathize with that. But there's only one more thing to know, and that is that at the whim of the Grog Emperors, Flipping and Turning magazine was created, a place where our community of AD&D, old school, and OSR aficionados talk endlessly about the games we love. It is a place where friends of the show and celebrated AD&D writers and artists may yet be found. In this issue, we have the great honor of publishing articles by Stephen Marsh, Lou Publisher, and Kelly P. I'm going to mutilate that. Villamere. As well as Tournament Adventure by the late Leonard Lakofka, released with the permission of the Grey Council. How wonderful. This issue's theme is Enchantment Under the Sea, Aquatic and Underwater Adventures, and you will find numerous monsters, spells, magic items, and adventures to keep your games afloat and to aid you when they begin to take on water. We are delighted to feature a cover by the very talented Aggie Pryor. In addition, print copies of this magazine contain a special inclusion of a free copy of Windjammer, Rules for Ship Combat Compatible with AD&D, the first game released from Smoldering Dung Games, LLC. Enjoy the convention, and as always, keep flipping and turning, of course. So let's scroll down. And we have an ad there by Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight's always awesome. I know what you mean about no grognards on this channel, Vaughn. I really don't. So this is Sir James, the Terrible Sword of Longwood. Oh, really? Is he? We'll see about that. I'm in Longwood, and I'm pretty terrible. Oh, I know one. Let's see. Rules AF Tournament Edition. In the beginning, there was original Dungeons & Dragons, and then apparently there were tournaments. Reviewing the first published modules from TSR, they were all used at conventions for tournament play. For me, the highlight of going to the conventions back in the 80s was to join a bunch of strangers led by a DM who, at least for me, always seemed to have gotten the module 5 minutes before play commenced. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth back in the day? Once play was over, those who survived would wait around as the DMs huddled together to determine which team won. I was fortunate enough that one time I was part of the team that was victorious. This highlight of D&D for me was such a thrill that I risked my job by missing a few hours of work, waiting for the results and the prize. Those clear set of red dice I won held a special place for me for a very long time. Well, that is cool. Looking back, I wanted to see how they scored those early modules. I know that later on, different scoring systems would emerge that would focus on individual play, but I'm going to focus on team scoring that appears to be the preferred method back then. I reviewed the scoring system in C1, the Hidden Shrine of Tamacon, and we have actually, for those of you who maybe you've come along later, we've actually done a deep dive on Lost Tamacon and the Hidden Shrine, the actual published one. For I have acquired out of the ether itself a PDF of that original blue pastel hand assembled Lost Tamacon, because honestly, folks, the artwork in it by David C. Sutherland, Gene Wells, and others is different from what got published, and something like that is something that everyone should see. So it is it is paramount that you should seek out a copy of that in PDF form to check it out. But there is a scoring system therein, and of course there is in the pastel and the color. The 4-color cover versions, both of the artwork of those being done by, of course, the great Errol Lotus, who has graced us here on this show. But we continue. On the page titled Tournament Scoring, the author state plainly, the scoring system which follows is straightforward. Sounds good to me. I began reviewing how DMs were to keep score. Each room had a number of actions, and again, we've been all over this. Trying to keep a running score with dozens of factors seems fruitless. The authors, in fact, discouraged the DM from doing that, so marking what occurred and what didn't occur is the only practical choice. As someone who has DM'd tournaments, nothing is more fun than at the end of a session to go and tabulate a long list of integers. Fortunately, there were no fractions. Remember, kids, back then you probably had to do this by hand, where it is unlikely that you would have had a calculator. I can almost guarantee you that's the next bit. You're going to bring your adding calculator with you. Well, I was darn close. No, they were not, Vaughn. The scoring systems differed across many systems. But this wouldn't be a Rules AF article if we didn't focus on the extra instructions that are not part of the main rules. The authors say the DM can award +1, 2, +3 for brilliant actions that were not covered in the rating system for a total of up to 10 additional points. These points were to have been reviewed with the other DMs. So not only are you calculating rows and numbers like a card counter in Vegas, but now you have to play a poor game of Let's Make a Deal or Shark Tank with the other DMs. In the additional point section, the authors provide more ways to lose points than earn. Very first edition. A sure way to lose points at the tournament is for the party to die. In this tournament, dying is really a killer. As you guys might recall, Hidden Shrine of Tamacon has poison gas filling the temple. I think it's not until you get, depending on which direction you're going, to the first or the third level, that you're out of poison gas. No, this is a zine. This is a magazine. This is a regular publication. Apparently, escape is possible. Oh, it's absolutely possible in C1. And indeed, if you're not playing C1 as a tournament module, going in and coming out and going in and coming out, standard dungeon exploration fare is absolutely possible. So they go on to talk about the adding up the points, and just so Robert, you understand, and Giant Slayer, you guys understand. We kind of hit the salient points of articles. I mean, we'd be here all night, well into the wee hours of the morning if I read every letter. So, yeah, I mean, these are gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Okay, so our next article up, warning: this potion may have side effects, by Dan Gormansky. I've met Dan a couple of times. Let's see. Since potions are similar to modern day prescription drugs, it seems appropriate. It seems appropriate that they should come up with a risk. Come with. I promise you, English is not my second language. Should come with a risk of side effects. The chance of these side effects should be based on the quality of the magic user and the alchemist who manufactured the potion. Excellent, 1%. Very good, 2%. Fair, or good, 5%. Fair, 10%. Poor, 25%. Very poor, 50%. Brutal, Dan. Brutal. Oh, that's not what I thought AF stood for, Ronald. Oh, GSG. This is as soon as I got the look. I'm sorry, I can't stop holding it up. As soon as I got this beautiful baby, I was like, yeah, there's a deep dive happening. I mean, this is what the body craves. Okay, my co-host Kyle, he gets on his horse about physical copies over PDFs, and I mean, guys, get physical copies of this. Go out and at the very least this one. But I think you're going to like them all. We'll take a look at the website in a little bit. But anyway, so there's side effects. There should be an equivalent chance that the potion will not be completely effective. Thus, it can be effective without side effect, effective with side effect, ineffective without side effect, or ineffective with side effect. If the potion has a side effect, roll on the side effect chart. The details of the side effect are left to the DM's discretion, but there should be a 5% chance the side effect is chronic. If the potion is not fully effective, roll percentile dice to determine the percent of effectiveness, with a double odd being 0 effective. No, double odd is 100. Need to have this conversation with people. Anyway, the cost of potions would vary based on the quality of the manufacturer. Under such a system, potions would likely have the manufacturer indicated on the vial, although there will likely be generic brands. Oh my. So let's see. Is the chart maker implying that player characters should get all of their potions custom made to lower the chances of side effect? I don't know, Damien. I don't know. But let's take a look at these side effects. Instant death, disease, per the Dungeon Master's Guide, page 14. Blindness, constant... I feel like we should have a video of some boomers riding mountain bikes through a state park while a Muzak version of Treat Your Children Well or Sweet Judy Blue Eyes plays in the background, and there's a Pfizer logo in the corner. Warning, side effects may include instant death, disease, per Dungeon Master's Guide, page 14, blindness, constipation, deafness, diarrhea, dizziness, drowsiness, dry mouth, fatigue, headache, hives, insomnia, nausea and vomiting, per Dungeon Master's Guide, page 119, skin rash, stomach upset, self-deletion thoughts, vomiting, or roll twice. If you experience any or all of these symptoms, consult your cleric. Oh, urban verse, you heretic, you heathen, you oath breaker. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that can go awry there. Terrible monsters. I'm a big fan of terrible monsters. Why do you think I own a copy of the Fiend Folio? So I tease. It's got some good stuff in it. Just 90% of the good stuff was written by the TSR US offices. Hopefully Greyhawk City bands big. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's see. Okay, so terrible monsters. Squid Man. Frequency, very rare. Number appearing 9 to 16. For those who are curious, that is 1d8 plus 8. Armor class 6, move, swim 15. Now, I wonder, do I have... Yes, okay. So the notation for swimming on movement, let's zip up here. The notation for swimming, if you wanted to move that over, come along. I'll get there eventually. Is it's 2 slashes between the movement numbers and then a pound and a double quotes. So I guess since this thing is only in the water, it would be pound and double quote. But hit dice 3 plus 1. Fairly easy to cope with. In layer 5%. You're not going to bump into them in their houses very often. 1 time in 20 in the water. Treasure type individuals K. Or maybe it's Hispanic. Individuals K. Number of attacks, damage, both see below, special attacks, surprise initiative bonus, special defenses, none, magic resistance is standard, intelligence low, alignment neutral, size medium to large, human torso, but 24 feet total length. Get the big bucket of Zatarains. We got a lot of calamari to make. Squidmen are the creation of the archmage Zagan Voss, one of the greatest nautical magic users. Long ago, Voss established a secret lair deep beneath the waves of the great ocean in order to further his arcane research designed to control the powerful undersea denizens and bring them permanently into his service. Over more than a century, he enjoyed varying degrees of success in this ambitious endeavor, but he understandably also made many enemies as a result, most notably the Sahuagin, Mermen, Kutoa, and even humans, all of whom were determined to not let one faction hold sway over too great a portion of the watery world. And I think you could probably throw Tritons and aquatic elves into the mix. Maybe Morkoths, possibly even Exitichil. One of Voss' most successful, albeit bizarre creations was the race of Squidmen. By way of some combination of obscure magic still unknown to the rest of the world, Voss was able to somehow successfully merge the race of humanity with that of the giant squid, and he makes use of these wretched beings as his personal soldiers, bodyguards, foragers, and protectors of his lair. There is no way to know how many of these squid men exist, but it is rumored that Voss still finds time to create new companies of them to cater to his ever-growing ambitions. Squidmen have the upper body of a human male, the main difference being a set of 3 gill slits on either side of the neck, well built and quite strong, having the equivalent of 1851 strength. Yow! From the torso down, the body becomes that of a mottled grayish-brown squid. And can I just point out, male, okay? So just keep it in check, guys. Let's see. So yeah, so you know, they're squiddy men, and let's see. Despite their low intelligence, they're quite clever and strategic in their actions. Okay, that always kind of, I don't know. And I do it too. Like that always kind of bugs me just a little bit. It's like they're low intelligence or they're semi-intelligent, but they're very clever and can plan and think strategic. And they're not low intelligence. Okay, maybe they're not going to pass the LSAT, but at the same time, if they can set up an ambush with nets and traps and train monsters to fight with them, that's not low intelligence or semi-intelligent in some cases. Anyway, so they travel in packs of 9 to 16, D8 plus 8, and perform all of their activities in concert via telepathic communication with one another up to 24 inches away. Now, that does ask the question, which I don't know if it's answered here. Could someone with telepathy, greetings, Lux, could someone with telepathy listen in on that? But, you know, when attacking, they fan out and surround their adversaries if geographic setting permits. I guess it would be aquagraphic setting. They'll then release a silent blast of thick blue-black ink from their undersides, each one filling an area of 2 by 8 by 1 inches. Can be released 3 times a day, hovers in place for 6 rounds, and is visually impenetrable by any non-magical means except by squid men who easily see through it. As the ink is released and has formed a ring of darkness, the squid men will rapidly swim to reposition themselves and then dash at full speed through the cloud to attack. It allows them to achieve a 1 to 5 chance to surprise their opponents for the initial attack. After the first melee round is concluded, any squid men who have not hit an opponent will hurriedly swim back through the ink and reposition before attacking in a similar manner once again, this time having no surprise. Let's see. But they gain a +2 on their each squid man's individual initiative roll. No, that's it's per side, so it's just going to be they get a +2 on initiative. Yeah, me either, Jorge. I don't want to know that. So it goes on. You know, we go on and we. You know, they attack from long range using their 20-foot long tentacles to grab their opponents and draw them in for greater damage. If one long tentacle hits, it does 1 to 3 hit points, and the victim is grabbed and held securely, but still able to counterattack. If both hit, the victim is pinned and unable to attack that round. In either case, a victim hit by 1 or 2 tentacles is drawn into the writhing mouth of 8 shorter ones, where they will take control of the victim, freeing up the long arms to seek out new victims. The 8 small tentacles hold. The squid man is free to attack with both of its human arms, which carry a silver dagger for 1 to 4 damage. Ensnared victims are automatically hit by 1 arm. Oh, we have some artwork there of the squid men. The second arm gaining a bonus of +4 to hit. This attack routine continues each round until the victim is dead or the squid man is killed or flees. Any squid man reduced to fewer than half its hit points will on the next initiative release any held victims and flee. If more than half the complement of squid men have been killed or has fled, the remainder will flee on the next round's initiative. All will flee in the same direction to remain a coherent unit. Squid men speak no verbal language but have 24-inch telepathy. And with Zogan Boss at any range, and that's by Ron Christopher. So very interesting. Very interesting. Supers aren't working. Y'all bear with me just a moment, because we don't like that. My keyboard. No, sir, we don't like that. Did I forget? I may have. Pardon me for just a minute, guys. For just a hot second. Can I do this? I don't know if this will. I don't know what's going on, Vaughn. It says monetization is on. Yeah, monetization's on. That's not something I switch off. I don't know. You guys can always buy me coffee. Yeah, it's you click the little dollar thing and it lets you donate a couple of bucks. And Vaughn is usually very generous, and I think anybody, any amount is always appreciated. So anyway, so that's by Ron Christopher, and they've got kind of a funny little sort of discussion of it here. The HR department tells the marketplace wizard that is considered humanizing to reveal some sort of personal failing. And so he admits that he does not like to swim in the ocean or really anywhere that he cannot see his feet. The idea of something cold and clammy and wrapping around his ankle is the sort of thing that he does not like. He prefers a merry fire, hopefully with a hated enemy roasting atop. Does that make the marketplace wizard more relatable? More relatable than, say, that jerk Zagan Voss, Squidman Voss, really? Like the oceans don't hold enough terrors. You now have to generate another type of tentacled horror to worry about in the unlikely event that the marketplace wizard goes to sea bathing on holiday. The monster has many fiddly bits that will delight dungeon masters who like to throw more and more ropes around the necks of their players, but it defies evaluation. Excuse me. We'll just assume that Hugo drowns and is consumed in the first round. Wizards rating, terrible. So let's see. Black Sea Spiders, number appearing 6 to 18, armor class 4, move 6 or 15. There we have the water notation. 3+3 hit dice, 65% in layer. Treasures J through N and E. And the J through N treasure types, of course, guys, are loose coin. Number of attacks 1, SAs and SDs are listed below. They're semi-intelligent and chaotic evil. They are large and not psionic. The Black Sea Spiders of the Azure Sea are the vile creation of a mad wizard. We mad wizards get such a bad rap. One guy creates a gelatinous cube and then they hang all of this on us. All monsters are rated terrible. Excellent. I love it. Thought to be based in the Scarlet Brotherhood. Woo! Greyhawk represent. Somehow a wizard was able to cross a giant sea spider with some other foul creature presumed to be something in the squid family. Wow, isn't that surprising? These pure black spiders with glowing green eyes are as evil as any creature to swim the seas. When they come out at night, they hunt in packs and hunt just about anything so long as the moon is at least 50% or less, for natural light drives them into the depths to seek the darkest places, only to wait to emerge again to strike fear in anyone who is at or near the sea at night. They have a fondness for land-based animals over sea creatures for some odd reason. Probably the same reason I enjoy a plate of fried shrimp. They do, don't they, Cornelius? They have a poison like their smaller water-breathing cousins and also build nests at the bottom of the ocean where they dine on their victims at their leisure. As a defense, they have a secondary gland in the back of their carapace that emits a black ink into the water if pursued. Submitted by Vic Dorso. I guess you might say, since this is an aquatic encounter, that Vic has a dorso fin. What do you people know from funny? So let's get one thing right out of the way. The marketplace wizard had nothing to do with the creation of Black Sea Spiders, despite any rumors to the contrary, but wishes he had. These things are murder incarnate and a perfect accompaniment to some foolish adventurer's romantic seaside stroll. Their one drawback is that the bites apparently do no damage other than to inject poison. Don't get him wrong. The MW loves poison, but he prefers when a monster does normal damage as well as injecting poison. And it rates terrible, of course. So that just kind of gives you an idea that, you know, there's some some monsters listed there. There's a good monster here, the Servant of the Sea. They're beneficent, human-like creatures who generally lead solitary lives in an aquatic setting. They don't swim per se, but instead appear to fly or glide through water and are capable of moving at very high rates of speed, which rival even water elementals. They've never been encountered in a lair. They're lawful, neutral, or chaotic good, and have the innate ability to detect the presence of such creature over long ranges. But let's see. Let's see what the wizard's rating of it is, and then we'll kind of get to another section here. The monster section is good. I love the ratings you guys put on these. So don't think, like I said, to read every word in the magazine would take hours, right? And I'm here to show everybody the awesomeness that it is. So I'm sure Hugo, having slipped overboard and sinking like a stone to the bottom of the sea in his ocean in his plate armor, will be very grateful for the timely aid of the Servant of the Sea. But how does that help a simple, chaotic, evil marketplace wizard? The little aquatic goody two-shoes might actually be useful to the marketplace wizard, except their bigotry prevents them from helping someone who isn't technically of good alignment. They seem relatively squishy and easy to hit. One suspects that they originate in some shallow end of the elemental plane of water, but the fact that they may be damaged by normal weapons is a good sign that a high-level wizard may be able to dispatch one with a well-placed dagger if such crude means become necessary. By the 7 forbidden words of Carlin, this creature makes no attack and does no damage, existing solely to assist fools who blunder into trouble in the depths. If encountered in the surface, a levitation spell seems like a particularly delicious, low-level way to drag them out of the water into the air until they dry out completely and die. Several other delightful ways to magically murder these pointless do-gooders come to mind, but for now, we shall, as they say, leave them as an exercise for the reader. Wizard's rating, terrible. All right, so, well, that brings us to the end. So we have Ask the Gibbering Mouther, the ranking magistrate and ultimate authority on all rules questions within the Grog Empire. All rulings are final and binding in all games within the Grog Empire. Dear Gibbering Mouther, who put you in charge? Dubious in Dullstrand. Thank you for your question. The Gibbering Mouther is not in charge. Our puissant and terrible Grog-Talk Emperors are in charge. We operate under the color of their authority until such time as it pleases them to dismiss us from their surface. Once we slip their leash, we shall strike out on our own and go rogue. Let's see. Then there's some questions about can lower water or part water kill or damage a water weird or water elemental. That's a good question, you know. That's a good question. And, you know, there's just like the standard collection of very pointed D&D questions. And I love seeing this because I do like hearing from other D&D players. And indeed, like there's obscure corners of the dragon, polyhedron even, which not everybody had access to, and Dungeon Magazine, and forum posts from Gary and other luminaries from back in the day that may be folded into these answers, and, you know, not just their own off-the-hip takes on rules, like does lower water damage a water weird. You know, so I do like stuff like this. We are stronger together than we are apart when it comes to that sort of thing. So yes, a nice sort of from the Sorcerer's Scroll out on a limb kind of thing. Now this one I like. At what age is the cutoff for being considered a grognard? Signed, too young? And being a grognard is a state of mind. They definitely got it right. It's a state of mind. And so we have some Sea Druid spells from Janine Mueller, the Empress Strangler. Don't ask her to pay for her own dinner, fellows. So you Ink Cloud, Calm Wave, Call Waves, Calm Seas. There you go, Vaughn. Thank you very much. Test passed. Of course, Ricky. Call aquatic mammals. Create reef. Wow, that's potent. But again, like magic use or like cleric spells, when you start getting up into the 5th level of druid spells, you're talking about lofty areas. Aquatic entanglement, control water temperature. Is it warm around us, Bob? Create aquatic plant wall. Oh, there's a lovely looking fellow. I guess the shark ran out of formaldehyde. Gnome Realms, trademark, the obsession. The white whale, W-I-G-H-T, very nice, unique. 189 hit points, 42 hit. It hits. Eric, the white whale strikes out at you. It hits. You didn't roll any dice. I know. Exceptionally intelligent, chaotic evil, 90 feet long. It's an undead sperm whale who inhabits the waters between the Gnome Realms, which is an island, of course, and the mainland, although the chance of encountering pirates is much greater than the chance of encountering the white whale. Seafarers are much more concerned about it, though the latter. If a random encounter at night indicates whale, there's a 1 in 20,000 chance that it is the white whale on a roll of 1 on D100, then another roll of 1 on D100, and then a roll of 1 to 3 on a D6. This thing ain't even going to show up. It is most evil and hateful, seeking to destroy any non-aquatic life form and any good aquatic life form it encounters. It has an unexampled intelligent malignity as an infernal forethought of ferocity. Love the verbiage. So yeah, it just goes on that. Shipping interests have offered rewards totaling 1 million gold pieces. Well, my God, it has 42 hit dice. I would hope so. As an eerie, glowing white color, its eyes appears as glowing points of red light in eye sockets that are mere black holes. It is reputed to be the largest sperm whale ever seen. So that's pretty foul. Great looking yellow there. And Captain, look, the Jolly Roger. Not again. Wretched Pirates by Kelly P. Villamer. And this, I saw something after this. Okay, this article appeared in First Encounter magazine, issue number 5, in February of 1983. We're very proud to present it here in its original form with a blessing and permission of the author. That's awesome. That is really, really awesome, because preservation of stuff like that, particularly, I myself had never heard of First Encounter magazine. I remember reading this and I was like, that's really cool. And so the presentation of something so old and so unobtainium is really quite nice. It's really, really quite nice. Wasn't yesterday? Yeah, yesterday was Taught Like a Pirate Day, me Hardy. So there it is, just like it came in the magazine. And let's see. Now here's something that isn't necessarily aquatic themed by Ron Christopher. And this is making lemons out of lemonade, or making lemonade out of lemons. Lemons out of lemonade. That'd be a neat trick. If you can do that, I'll have you on the show. If you can make lemons out of lemonade, I want to know. But anyway, I read this and it's a pretty good article. This is definitely something that I would agree with on doing the best with a character that you've rolled up. You can find this wonderful magazine at. Did I wisely send myself the link, or no? Hang on a moment. No, that's not right. That was not the browser I was looking for. Just a moment. Here, I will put the link up, and you guys can dig into that. And hard copies, of course, as noted, from Smoldering Dung Games. Unfortunately, if you guys are trying to share links, it doesn't. It's YouTube. It's hard coded into YouTube. You can't put links up, but I can. So you guys can check that out, and I'll put this up on screen real quick. Smolderingdung.itch.io. Where now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If I'm wrong, please say something. The PDFs are free. Yes. So folks can check out or is that not the case? But anyway, yes, the PDFs. So Rob Ritchie confirms the PDFs are free downloads, and they're great. I have to say, issue number 12 looks absolutely sumptuous because it is it's black and white, but it is kind of a salute to the cover of the folio version of the World of Greyhawk set, and I'm all about that. But let's get back to the mag, shall we? So there's some good advice here. There's definitely some good advice to be found on what to do as a low-level adventurer. I'm gonna break this. I have a new player who's just joined our Monday night first edition AD&D game, and I wanna send her that and say, hey, so she's new to not to role playing, but to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition. So she has thankfully joined our merry little band. So I think she'll find this to be very interesting. So yeah, there's some good advice here in this section. And it is a lengthy section too. It's not like, buy rations and a bag of flour so you can, see if an invisible monster's in. No, this is deep dive stuff here that does go on for a few pages. The Ron Christopher Guide to AD&D. Ooh, here's something interesting sounding. Put a pin in that. We'll have to take a look at it. The Divas DM's Tomes of Tricks and Traps by Brian Larch. And we have some lovely, lovely traps from there. Dedicates about 3 full pages, the Dungeon Master's Guide for Tricks and Traps. But here is a quick and dirty, if you need something in a hurry, these tables are pretty awesome. And here are Point Crawls, Underwater Adventures by R.R. Brando. So these are essentially, these are watery hex crawls. And you know what? I could absolutely, Kyle and I, so if you guys don't know, Robert and Giant Slayer. We actually love hex crawl type stuff. We like genning up areas of hexes. I'm gonna come back to this. All right, I want everybody to know it's here because again, this is all part and parcel of the deep dive. But I'm gonna come back to this, and one night, Kyle and I are gonna have some fun doing a hex crawl with this out of this issue, and we will tell people where they can find this. Some lovely art in there. And what else do we have going on here? Searching a room. We have some we have a spell here, dominate, second level, range 3 inches. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. Very nice. The Waterfall Hex. Also by R.R. Brando, and he got a lovely hexagonal border around the drawing. 6 miles from Tremont Crossing, the Even Flow River tumbles over a great abyss and topples nearly 40 feet before continuing its journey to the sea. The area around these falls contains a number of challenges and rewards for adventurers that find their way to it. The falls are small enough that they could be placed along any medium to small river, making this an ideal hex to drop into a game when an adventuring party uses a river for navigation or travels downstream in a boat. The hex described here is imagined as a 6-mile hex, although it is easily adapted for whatever scale the individual dungeon master might use. I'm a 30-mile hex and Greyhawk kind of guy, but that's cool to know. If the party simply chooses to pass through the hex on their way to their destination, consult the random encounter chart and proceed as directed. If you wish to provide clues about the denizens or locations, you may wish to emphasize some of the provided hooks. I gotcha. Okay. It's got a few interesting encounters. The Walnut Clan Homestead, Led and Dell's Blackberry Patch. With an Etten, that's good. The Overlook. Near the waterfall, a spur of rocks rises 40 feet above the surrounding terrain. From here, travelers can get over the dense trees and see for miles around, allowing them to get their bearings and perhaps recover from being lost. They can also see the Blackberry Patch and the Walnut Homestead down below. Unfortunately, this rocky knoll has been claimed by a manticore who's protecting 2 eggs. She will attack any who come into her area from her nest at the top of the rock. She begins by flying about and launching spines before closing a melee and fighting to the death for her eggs. And she has 2 manticore eggs for her treasure. The Singing Spur, a +1 dagger that will, once per day, illuminate all magic items and effects within 60 feet. When sung to in Elvish for 1 round, it will sing the same song itself in reply. That's nice. And it's an excellent place to drop a small dungeon of your choice, something like Brian Larch's The Demon Eye Cult, or perhaps something that you might have gotten as a $10 backer on this show's Patreon or YouTube membership page. Links below. And we have random encounters, of course, good outdoorsy stuff, brownies, gnolls, river pirates, a brown bear, Etten, and manticore. And we have another spell happening there. This one is blend. Will it blend? Allows the magic user to physically blend or assimilate into any surface, even flame or smoke, which he or she is adjacent and touching at the... touching the flame. Ow, 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 ow. Casting a spell. Any damage sustained from the contact while casting is automatically healed upon the ending of the spell. Okay, all right. The surface blended into must be as large or larger than the person making the spell. Upon casting, the affected creature will simply transform into the material. Duration is 1 turn per level. That could be pretty cool, you know? You come to a great bonfire in a forest and bam, outsteps a magic user. Oh, I will push that Patreon, man. Absolutely. Subscribe to the Dungeon Delver on Patreon. They can cast Blend on a companion. At the moment of casting, decide whether to permit the companion to end the spell or opt to retain such prerogative for him or herself. Once transformed, the being is unable to move and must remain in the spot. Now that asks the question, and we're going to see how this works. That asks the question, if the person or persons say they're transformed into flame, what if the party puts the fire out? What happens to them? So we have a Windjammer scenario here. This is the first game being released by Smoldering Dung Games and provides ship combat compatible with AD&D. A free copy of Windjammer is included in the printed version of this issue. And I'll be honest, I have not dug into this. I have not dug into this. Sea combat and AD&D fascinates me, so this would definitely be something that I might come back and revisit. But here's a whole section on sea combat scenario, and if you get the print copy, the print copy of this issue, you get those rules for free. Rob, are they available separate if someone, for whatever unimaginable reason, they don't want a physical copy of that issue? Are those rules available separately? And then there's our battle map. Long Hairs and Labyrinth. Smart characters seek sage advice. It is a feature, not a flaw, of early editions of D&D that PCs never have the ability, innate or learned, to do absolutely anything. While they might become quite skilled in the narrow profession they have been born to, only a character classes such as the cleric and magic user are truly able to transcend their physical limitations, and even then only in very restricted ways. An oft-mentioned way of overcoming these limitations is the acquisition of magic items. In old school games, where +1 is considered a very healthy ability score modifier to dice rolls and characters seldom gain new abilities as they advance in level beyond a new spell or increased hit points. Magic items enable PCs to gain supernatural powers and prowess. Okay, so there we go. Windjammer, I almost said Spelljammer, my apologies, are available separately, so you can pick those up. But again, get the dang physical issue, guys. It's wonderful. So basically this kind of goes in, whoops. Whoa, what just happened? I think. So this is about hiring sages. And guys, this comes up in my Monday Night AD&D game more times than ever. This is just damn good advice. Hire sages, guys. Hire sages. It's 100% true. Smart characters seek sage advice. Bob Blues identify on that longsword that glows and hums lullabies. You want to just keep using it or sell it to somebody? Go hire a sage. Spend the money, get it identified. You could have an artifact. So we have the sage. We have his friend Clara Broadside. Let's see. have another sage here. Sathrax of the Scintillating Eye. I'm getting a Ningabul or Shielba feel there. Single Conversation by Lloyd Brown. New D&D NPC class, the Sage. Well, that can be kind of interesting. I looked at this, and the Sage is actually, I believe he's statted out like this in Dragon, but he's definitely, you can build Sages with the Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm not saying this is a bad article that makes this unworthy. I'm just saying you can build them in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but don't let that put you off this. So let's see. We have some more ads. We love ads. We love ads. Mega Dungeons Mage Easy Rise up, come us.itch.io. Come fly with our flock. Castle Entertainment. Castle Entertainment. Water Armor, another spell, just right there in the book. And then we get to a review of the U series. We're actually, it's a review of the U series, and reviews of old stuff is very good. I'm going to be doing a deep dive, no pun intended, of the U modules. So I actually don't want to get too much into this article because I want to leave ample time or leave ample material rather when we get to that point. But there it is. It's in the issue. Some lovely lizard man art and a thing. And a couple of dudes running from lizard men. A touch of class, Druids by David Thompson. Let's see. The Druid class of first edition AD&D represents a combination of nature-based clerics and the Celtic Druids of old without a specific pantheon. The Druid is a worshiper of the sun, moon, and nature, to quote the player's handbook. Druids can be visualized as medieval cousins of what the ancient Celtic set of Druids would have become had it survived the Roman conquest. And then it kind of goes into what Druids are and what they can do, sort of covers over. Now, something I want to point out. This came up recently because I have my Monday night player who just joined. She's playing a Druid. And that is, can Druids get extra spells for exceptional wisdom? Per Gary, many quotes, yes, they can. Absolutely, unquestionably, yes, they can. That is again from Gary. You can find a post by Colonel Plato on Dragon's Foot where he states flatly, yes, they are supposed to get bonus spells for greater wisdom. So if you got a Druid walking around with a wisdom 18 and you're like, no bonus spells, you start with your 1 at first level. No. They do get bonus spells. So keep that in mind. And then there's some variants, twists on a common theme. There's the Celtic Witch. This type of Druid acts as a local doctor and herbalist, using natural remedies to fix people and animals. The Druid protects and defends the community, and while taking leaves of absence, will always return. The Soothsayer, nature priests and priestesses, and the Shaman. Now, anybody who's a fan of the show knows I love the idea of a witch class in AD&D. So using that as kind of a template, I hate that phrase, I hate that word, but using it as a template for the class, I'm actually okay with that. Druids of stories, myth, and legend. Merlin, of course. Melampus from Greek mythology. Deirdre of the Sorrows from Celtic myths. Bequil from Celtic Druidess. Cathbad, Celtic Druid, and Getafix, Asterisk, and Obelix comics. Very nice. We have a hippocampus there. Ye Old Gruel Hut. So we have a recipe. West Virginia is known for its excellent trout fishing, but if you're blessed enough to be invited to a fish fry, it's most likely catfish on the menu. Stomach growling. So yeah, there's a recipe there. Always good stuff. And then we get into an adventure, Lady Greyfist of Wolf Tree Island. This is an adventure for 4 to 6 characters, 2nd through 4th level. Folks, if you're doing a zine, you got to put an adventure in there. Let your adventure flag fly. And I have read through this by Brian Larch, and I must say, I find it excellent. Definitely worth your time and your money. So, when you buy the print version, which is what you should be doing. And we have some lovely maps there. They're hand drawn, but quite good. Shame that they're on the wrong type of grid, though. Such a shame. We all know the proper grid are the square grid maps. Hexes are for out of doors only. The North Tower, Dungeon Masters, you will have to fix that. Giant crabs. Yeah, this adventure has definitely got awesome stuff in it, and I do recommend it. Got another adventure. Now this one is this article here is by Stephen Marsh. Yes, that's right, the Stephen Marsh. I've interviewed Steve on the show before. Steve's an excellent guest. If you go back down through, of course, I don't have a live link for you guys, but if you go back down through the video catalog, you'll find my interview with Steve Marsh there, and it's worth seeing. And if you can't, look up stuff like this. So Steve lays in and he says, in my application, kobolds are localized geographic anima of 2 types, feral wild and benign domestic. Domains count as geographic focuses, thus the area around the lair of an ancient red dragon will spawn kobolds that are tied into the dragon as a terrain type. Fascinating. Long-standing human settlements are also domain. Kobolds arise when the world is in formation and tend to move on once the world is settled. In Shattered Norns, kobolds are one of the races that is part of the creation process, but that generally moves on once that's completed. In addition, the ideal of dogs in the positive material planes is the patron of the benign domestic kobolds, and the decay of the wolf from the negative material planes is the patron of the feral kobolds that arise near human settlements. All statistics are for basic and expert. So AD&D guys, you got a little bit of heavy lifting to do here. If you pardon me. You got a little bit of heavy lifting to do here if you want to change it, but I kind of love that. And the domestic dog kobold, they're cute balds. They're cute balds. So, we have them all statted out here. So if you want to make your kobolds more than just like, well, we're all 3rd level, I guess we need some copper and silver. Crack your knuckles and, stoop into the caves and come out with a few scratches and stab wounds. And, you can kind of have some fun with it. But I like that. I like the idea that they spring up from the environments, if you will. There's even aquatic ones, which is interesting. And right here from Rob Ritchie, we have the Lehman Files, The Lighthouse. Leonard Lukofka designed the following scenario with the intention of running at CAFCON 2020. Unfortunately, it was canceled, like so many other cons, due to human malware. And ultimately, Len passed away before he was able to run it himself. We are very pleased to be able to present this tournament-style game for the first time. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys were able to give Len some... Give Len some space on his page, and look at that. The Lighthouse. That is gorgeous, guys. That is almost worth that, and the cover are worth the price of admission, along with Len and Steve Marsh's stuff. But everybody's stuff is awesome, right? So just beautiful stuff. And then the event. I'm not going to spoil this. I'm not going to spoil this adventure. I'm just going to tell you guys we have a Leonard Lakofka module in here. That you guys, is it worth your I think 22 now? It better be. Because a Len Lakofka module, come on, that you don't get more classic Advanced Dungeons and Dragons than that. I practically insist that you buy a physical copy of this, folks. And no, I'm not getting. I got a gift. I got a gift from folks of this module, but it is worth your money if you have the means. Pick one up. And listen, if you don't believe me, if you're just like, oh, he's scrolling through it, he's not really looking at anything, get the PDF and look at it, and then come back and tell me whether or not that's worth your money. I think you'll find it's worth your money. So let's keep going. Again, we're going to go past this module because I don't want to give away too much. And we have some reviews here. Annals of the Lower Reaches, comic books, monsters, RPGs. And this is from the man himself, Lou Publisher. If you don't know who Lou is, man, wow. Read The Dragon, The Fiend Folio. Back when White Dwarf was not a thing, it was not just a monthly model catalog from Games Workshop. So Lou holds forth on a lot of stuff like that. And finally, we get to Sonny Faljean's from the Dictionary of E. Gary Gygax. When the average dungeon master that should be capitalized. Sorry. When the average dungeon master considers the boats plying the waters of a game world, the typical examples that come to mind might be the simple canoes, rowboats, and barges, or the larger merchant vessels and galleons of war. Maybe in the north, similar examples to the famous Viking longboats of yore glide across cold seas. As we know all too well, E. Gary Gygax was not the average player or dungeon master. So what kind of boat does Gary think of? Why, the Ambach, of course. I refer you to page 53 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, Waterborne Adventures. From the first raft and reed boat, Ambach and catamaran, the waters have beckoned men to come and explore. What is this Ambach that Gary refers to? In familiar Gygaxian fashion, he is using an obscure moniker for a reed boat crafted by lashing together the lightweight wood of the Ambach tree, native to tropical Africa. This large mangrove-like tree is common along the Nile River and throughout Nigeria and Kenya, growing in swamps and waterways. The roots stretch wide, elevating a possibly 12-meter tall trunk high above. That's 37 freedom units high above the water in a unique pattern. Left untamed, multiple plants can even intertwine to form an island-like structure. The wood it produces is extremely lightweight and pliable. As such, it is used to craft many items in the regions where it is common. Maybe Gary wrote this section. As Gary wrote this section, he was picturing an ancient Egyptian fisherman using a pole to push his small craft across the Nile, wearing sandals, using a net, and carrying a bow for protection. Each of these items having been crafted from a single Ambach tree felled at the nearby shore. Reluctantly, I must admit that EGG's use of the spelling Ambach is likely an error. The plural of the tree is Ambaches, but every mention I found of boats made of its wood use the singular spelling Ambach or a local name for the particular craft, such as the Gadich or the Ilkemus tribe of Lake Baringo, Kenya. In-game, the boat is simple to construct. Any party with sufficient amount of rope and access to trees similar to the Ambach could easily build a makeshift raft by bundling together the pliable wood, then filling the seams with mud or pitch. How many times have you or your player said, we build a raft, with the only detail following being a wandering monster roll to fill the time as the DM figures it should take to complete the task? Typically, details such as this are hand waved to keep the game moving along, but as we all know, Gary was not the hand waving type. At least not as his typewriter sang out the unique prose of the AD&D horror books. Once again, through his use of the M-Batch as an example of an early boat, Gary has revealed the wonderful depth he envisioned for the game we all know and love. These little details might not always be necessary to enjoy the game, but then again, sometimes it is fun to deep dive into the minutiae of what your characters are trying to accomplish. And we love us some High Gygaxian, and we love us some deep dives around here. So guys, that is an all too brief perusal, and we have the open gaming license printed small enough that it does not annoy, and the back cover, which is absolutely gorgeous. The Sea Serpent by N.C. Wyeth. So that's our deep dive, guys. And this is this is an absolutely phenomenal little publication. At least this issue of it. It is absolutely worth your time, your money. I like it a lot. I don't know if you were expecting a capsule review along with a deep dive, but there you have it. You've got stuff by Lou Publisher. You've got stuff by Lenel Kafka, Steve Marsh, and that is it's practically a good old issue of The Dragon, and it's got the cover. It's got that beautiful cover art. So I like it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the deep dive going through it there. I didn't want to dwell too much on the adventures. I definitely, guys, I didn't want to spoil them. Go get them. Thank you, B Puppy, and thank you, Rob Ritchie, both, and thank you, big, Ron. Big thanks to Giant Slayer Games for sending this my way. I didn't even know about this, but now I do. And I will slowly, over time, as finances permit, be acquiring more and more physical copies of this. But you guys can get down, and you guys can get out and download, and download these straight away. There's no need to wait, to delay. Let me see. Do I still have that? Start here. Paste this, but start there and go and seek this magazine out. I want to, I'm not going to deep dive this. I'm not going to deep dive this, but I want you guys to see the cover of issue 12 because it's really cool. And if this sounds like some weird ass kissing thing that I'm doing, like, oh, they must be paying him or something, they're not. I just like it that much. I do like it that much. Come on. Yeah, I know you said you wanted to see it, but so I gotta go over here. Let's open. I just want to show you guys the cover of the issue 12 here. Look at that. It's got heraldry. It's got knights with lances. Guys, it's amazing. It's amazing. And as pointed out, there is a sold out. And we had a question. Yeah, I'll put it down in the descriptor. About out of stock issues. Will you guys do reprints of sold out issues? Will you come back and revisit those? I'm doing it. I'm scrolling down through it. I shouldn't be doing this. Stop me. Oh, stop me. An interview with Mike Carr. Okay. All right. If I keep doing this again, I'm going to do a whole nother issue. And as I say, deep dives and reviews are only things that I have physical copies of. I got to have a physical copy of your product to give it a full review. Yeah, I'll come in and I'll edit all their stuff into it. So if there's enough demand, well, there you go. There you have it. So now how? Let me ask you this, since I have it. How often do issues come out? I mean, you've been going for a few years now, and you've just got 12 issues, so it is very Greyhawk, Joshua. Is it quarterly? Is it a bi-yearly? Is it a tri-yearly? Is it bi-monthly? You tell me. Quarterly. Okay, so it's a quarterly. That's good. There's enough material in there that it could last me for an afternoon or two of reading. I would only go a little crazy. 3 special editions as well. Very nice. And of course, you've got the game that you included in one. So yeah, I very much like this, and I hope you guys enjoyed the deep dive / review. I love print stuff, having it in hand, you know. A friend of mine was once touting the fact, everything I need is just on a couple of DVDs I burned. This is before thumb drive capacity was really, I'm like, that's nice. Everything I need is on my bookshelves. I can't haul my computer on my lap with me if I have to go to a doctor's appointment and I know I'm going to be waiting in the waiting room for 45 minutes or half an hour. They did put out a Spelljammer game. This is Windjammer. This is a different cup of tea. A Tempest in a cup of tea. Print is always better. Yeah, I mean, they did a really swell job with this, so my hat's off to you guys for doing that. So tomorrow night is Thursday. Thursday night we are going to be continuing on with the How to DM tips show that we've been doing on Thursday nights in lieu of guests. But I also have some guest spots that are coming up, but we'll get to those when we get to that. So tomorrow night, be here. We're going to talk how to dungeon master. Tips, tricks I've built up over the 26 years I've been a forever DM now. Stick Jammer comes soon. Yeah, so that's coming up tomorrow night. We're gonna talk about. So we've broken down a little bit of the philosophy. We're starting at the outer edges and starting to move in to what makes good dungeon mastering. And I think tomorrow night we're going to talk some about game balance and why it's bad and why your games shouldn't be balanced. But you'll have to wait and see what I mean by that. Friday, we'll do a little preamble ramble, a little 30-minute, look back at the week. And then at 9:00, because you wanted to see it, we will be returning to the wilds of Gemma World with Kennick, Doomsword Deathmaster, Kevin, and Yang Yan Zhao in all their post-apocalyptic glory. So don't miss it. And the way you don't miss it is if you haven't already, click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, if you'd like to support us via YouTube memberships, the YouTube memberships is like over here, like right down here. And the Patreon info is scrolling across the bottom if that's what you'd like to do. And then Monday, we start the whole affair over again. But there's a little difference next week. But I'll talk about that tomorrow, or rather on Friday evening. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to all the folks from Smoldering Dung who swung by tonight and showed some support. I really appreciated you guys being in the audience to answer some questions as we did this deep dive. And this is not just like, if I get another physical issue, when I get another physical issue, we'll deep dive that one too. You know, I've deep dived many copies of The Dragon and the Strategic Review. These guys know that. I'm not afraid to return to the well. Thank you, GSG. So everybody have a positively positive night. Of course, you know me, I'm gonna keep on keeping on. And, until then, everyone, I do need you to be on your best behavior because, of course, lurking somewhere out there is the dreaded owl bear. Peace. I love you all. Be good to each other.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.